Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to convert over our Mod 1 adult or youth platen to a cantilever design so we can thread the shirt on instead of just laying it on. That's good for polos or burnout tees, real thin fabrics and so forth. So what we have is we have the brackets, we have some screws. We're going to use a needle nose pliers. Regular pliers will work, needle nose a little bit easier to work with. A dry erase marker so we can mark where our current screws are. A number 1 would work really well if you have it really thin. Number 2 works too, but you'll see why number 1 will work a little bit better in a second. And some alcohol to wipe off our marks after we're done with it. Pretty simple. So when we look at our platens, you're going to see a label. This is the front of the design of the platen, as well as underneath there's a serial number. That's also the front. So we're going to simply remove these screws here, but first we're going to mark what holes they're in. And we're just going to go ahead and unscrew these. And we're going to use 2 of these. The kit gives you enough screws to use all the replacement screws, but I like using 2 of these long ones because it'll save you from having to use 2 additional screws, and it's just a little bit simpler to work with. So I'm going to pull those out. We're going to remove these spacers. So now we can see our 4 holes. So what we're going to do is take our bracket, and this slot here is going to be on the front. So it's going to be pointing towards the label. And we're going to take this flange, or this C, and we're going to face it out instead of in like this. We're going to go out. And so what we're going to do is open up our screws. And what we're going to use, there's 2 different types. We have a flat countersunk screw as well as a panhead screw. All right, and we're going to use, on this bracket, we're going to use the countersunk screws. So we're just going to need 2 of those. Set those off to the side. And we're going to simply put the hole, put it right in there. And if you have a thin enough screwdriver, you can go straight through here. Otherwise, you have to angle it. So it makes it a little bit easier. And so as we screw this on, we're going to take the back of this, and we're going to simply line up the bottom hole with this hole here, and we're just going to make sure it's in place, and then we're going to tighten the front. And again, we're going to do the same thing, have the flange facing out, put our screwdriver down the hole here, and line it up. And then we're going to line the other hole up and tighten this as it's aligned. Now what we're going to do, again with this label facing out, we're just going to put this on top of here. We're going to take the 2 that we had already in here, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Screw this down, and as long as the front hole is lined up, I can tighten this, which it is. Again, same way on this one. Tighten that. And now we're going to take our pan head screws, and now we have a lock nut with it. So we're just going to simply put this pan head screw up through here. Probably work on one of these at one time. And so now you can see there's a little bit of a hole there, or where the screw is. So we're going to want to use our needle nose here. I'm going to put this right in here, and then just feed the screw where it's supposed to be, the locking screw or the locking nut. And then once we have it in place, tighten it really good. So as you can see on the inside, all right, in the same way on this side, we'll do the same thing. We'll take one of our locking nuts. We're going to take our pan head, put it back in there as well. tighten that really good. And then we can simply wipe off our marks with the alcohol. And now we actually have a threadable platen, so we can slide the shirt on as opposed to laying it on.